welcome to the Watching Now podcast from Couch Soup. We have a very special episode for you today, nerding out on the latest batch of Doctor Who. Doctor Who. Doctor Who. It was a song by the Time Lord, so I'm going to move past it. But first, let me introduce you to our panel. We have Charlotte.
Hello.
We have Ben.
Hey, what's up?
And we have head of unit himself, Drew Lewis.
Alonze. Did I get it right? Is that I can never do it like you do.
Yeah, that
There's always the pause though. Alonze, right? I don't know.
We have not one, not two, but three David Tennant Doctor episodes to go through today, and one from the brand new Gallifreyan in our midst, Ncuti Gatwa. Before we go into those into too much detail, let's get a round robin on what you thought of it, just in non-spoilery terms. We'll start with Ben.
It's better than the last series. Like,
yeah,
definitely. I mean, that's not really a feat, but it is better. Like, I really liked Starbeast when it first came out, but then the more that we went on, as more I started to think of Starbeast as sort of like, meh. Because while Blue Yonder, honestly, I didn't really feel lived up to its potential much, but the Giggle was like a 10 out of 10 episode, and then that was just like, okay, now this is what we want that, keep giving more of that. It might be because of Neil Patrick Harris, but you don't never know. And the Christmas episode was really good as well, so promising, very promising. That's but you know, given what came before it, we have to go up in an upward direction, otherwise something would be incredibly wrong, you know.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Charlotte, what do you think?
Overall, I was happy to be able to sit down and actually feel like I was watching Doctor Who again. I really tried to give the Chibnall seasons a really good run, and I just couldn't. It felt weird, and I just didn't like it. The writing felt odd. So it was really nice to get back to just feeling like I'm watching a Doctor Who show, not just some weird spin-off that was never going to make it. And I would say out of all of the episodes, I would have to say the Giggle was fun. I liked, just because I knew the amount of work that went into it from what I watched on the behind the scenes stuff. I really liked Starbeast. The amount of work that they put into the puppetry and stuff on that was just cool.
Oh, that's some opposing opinions that you guys have got already. We'll get into that later. Okay. How about Drew? Drew.
The Doctor is back. This is I don't know if it was just the amount of time we had to wait for this new iteration. Like, you know how, like, you know, it's like you let something go and you're like, I miss it now. I need it. You know, even the bad was good when we had it. Like, just having Doctor Who back is sort of like a good feeling, you know what I'm saying? Just in general, like we need this television, this type of TV. We can all say Whittaker and version of Doctor Who wasn't the greatest, but it was still, I think she brought a lot of charisma to it, and I think there was some storytelling. I always appreciate bold swings, right? Like when someone's willing to take a bold swing, even if it was kind of jarring and you're kind of like, I don't really understand what you're trying to do here. And clearly they sort of retconning a lot of that anyway, right? In a sense, and we've kind of seen that in the latest episodes. But from a non-spoiler sense, I think it was incredibly smart, especially from a 60th anniversary standpoint, to bring back Tennant, even though, like, from a Whovian, like from a brain way of like trying to explain how that works, like they figured it out in some timey-wimey wibbly wobbly way, which is fine, right? Sure, right? But it's great to have Tennant back, and especially bringing back Donna Noble, like chef's kiss, to bring those two characters back together, and then introducing Ncuti with the Church on Ruby Road and Ruby, the character Ruby. I thought that was very well done. I'm gonna actually be different, since you picked the Giggle, and Charlotte, you picked Starbeast. I'm actually, my favorite was Wild Blue Yonder out of the three Tennant episodes. I actually thought Ruby Road was pretty incredible though, but I kind of want to separate them. I think they're sort of, it's like putting them all four together and trying to rate them. Like, it feels weird because it's like there's these three and then there's this one thing, right? Like I kind of want to separate them.
I sort of agree with that, to be honest. I think every single one is a different part of Doctor Who and what it can bring. Like they're all totally different, and they give different things to the Whooniverse, Whoviverse, Whoverse. That's what they're going to call it.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I have to say I have a soft spot for Jodie Whittaker. Not the writing of Jodie Whittaker's character of Who, but the energy that she brought. I really liked Jodie Whittaker's like chaotic energy. I mean, they're all chaotic in a way, the Doctors, but Jodie Whittaker's was just like weird and northern, and that's my jam, you know.
Well,
Yeah, she did what she could with what she had, right? Like it was sort of like, how do even she was probably reading it like, what the fuck? You know, and then she's like, I'm running with it. I'm just gonna go nuts. You know, felt like
I was gonna say you just can't discount somebody's work. Like she did 3 years of work on a show that I love. My blame purely rests on Chris Chibnall to me.
In terms of the new episodes, we love them. They have I feel like there was a touch of Eccleston and type production design in some of them, which I really liked. That just a little bit cheap and nasty, but in a fun way. The new introduction to Ncuti was really good. Just waiting for they need the time to gel, obviously, but that first Christmas episode was really good in my opinion.
Ncuti even brought back the leather from Eccleston.
The back of Eccleston leather.
That's
Eccleston
true.
was way too cool.
I didn't catch that, but the big coat. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I didn't even think about that.
Thanks. So it sounds like everyone's really on board with these last 4 episodes. Anyway, they really hit a chord with everyone. So, shall we go on to the Star Beast then? I know for a fact that Charlotte has something to say about the Star Beast. It was your favorite episode of it.
And it's not just because I am also a huge Harry Potter fan, but Miriam Margolyes is a gem. She is a national treasure. I love her and adore her, and she's just nuts. And I love her for this.
She is freaking nuts. In interviews, she is freaking nuts.
She examined me, my front body and my back body. And of course they thought I wouldn't like it.
She's bonkers. I love watching her because she has so much sass and does not care about anything.
Yeah.
And she's amazing. And it takes somebody like her to do this part to play the Meep.
The Meep,
right?
Let's talk about the Meep.
Yeah, such like to get such a like well-known and beloved actress to beat the Meep, and then and then the way the episode just completely like subverts it, and you're like, oh, okay, I see why you this actor is now playing this character.
I'm a cute little. Oh my god, I'm so cute. Nah.
When I saw him go evil, I was like, "Oh, it's evil baby Yoda." You're on Disney Plus now. Here you go.
I was thinking more on the Gremlin side, but yeah, the evil baby Yoda works as well. The Meep, I don't know if I can say it was a great character, but it was a turn. It was a turn that got me. Well, and the way its face just scrunched as well, like.
To hell with this. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Well, the story with the Meepin was actually like, it was an early story. Like it was something from a while ago that they brought to the screen. So it's always
based
been
on
there.
Like a comic or something.
Yeah, it was based on a comic. It was a project that brought forward, which was fan love brought to the screen, which was great.
You could tell they put a lot of work into the animatronics on the puppet. It was just really kind of cool. I mean, we're used to seeing very basic rudiment kind of makeup jobs. I mean, in the same episode, we saw very basic rudiment prosthetics. So to see something that was really well articulated, I thought was cool. And I know some of it's visual effects and some is puppetry, but still cool.
Some of the special effects in that episode I really liked was what they did with the sonic screwdriver with like the energy fields and the like heads up display that remind me of Tony Stark and stuff. Like
that was cool.
That was cool, but I don't think we'll ever see it again. I get this feeling that it was just
one and done.
this. just for this Doctor, like the 14th Doctor.
I was wondering because it definitely stood out. That UI that he brings up, and he's just sitting there and he's typing, and I was like, that's an interesting it seems like a no-brainer. Like that's something they should have been doing for a while now, but
Yeah.
At the same time, I think you might be right. I don't know if they'll continue to do it because it feels so techy for Doctor Who that I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it fits with every Doctor, but maybe with this older Tennant or this revised Tennant, it kind of did. I don't know. Like he's just more relaxed in his using, like, it's like old man Doctor, doing his thing on the like leaning back in the chair, and he's like playing with his screen.
I don't know if I could call this incarnation as relaxed. He was so confused for the whole time. Like let's face it, he has no idea at this point that why his face has returned. It's the first time it's ever happened to them. And yeah, he's so confused, especially because where does the TARDIS put him in the Star Beast? Right next to Donna Noble, who he's not supposed to see, and his daughter, her daughter, not his daughter, yeah, her daughter. They are a match made in heaven, those two.
Oh yeah, their on-screen chemistry is just amazing. I think it's because the actors are just genuinely good friends, so that translates to on-screen, and the writing between the two is always good.
Yep.
I always just like Donna because she felt like the every person's version of what it would be like to be a doctor. Like the way she just overreacts to every situation. Like when she first realizes like the Meep is where she's like, oh my God. Like it's like, like these realizations of like the way she just reacts to situations just feels more grounded, I think, in real worldness than a lot of other companions where they feel like, oh, I'm on an adventure, I would do this, and you're like, she's just like, to hell with it, like this is like, I'm out, why aren't we doing this, we need to get out of here, like she's just very grounded in her sensibilities, which I think a lot of people love that kind of take on a companion. And it's great, it was great to see her back. I do agree it was kind of like a little like the episode starts and you're kind of like, why is he right there, and then this, and then the daughter, like in my head I'm trying to play a lot of catch up, probably like the Doctor is trying to play a lot of catch up, I guess, too. So I guess in this
daughter called Rose as well, it's the love of his life at this point in his Doctor time.
That was an interesting choice. I thought so too, and I was wondering if there was going to be something with that, and they never took that anywhere.
They did.
There was something with it. Yeah, it's the fact that she's part of the meta crisis. Like she has all of his memories. So
that's right.
So she obviously changes her name when she transitions, taking the name Rose because it's the name that is the most prevalent for a female in the Doctor's memories of when he became Meta Crisis.
That feels like a little cheap. I don't know why. It rubbed me the wrong way for some reason.
Yeah,
like when her name was Rose, I was like, I don't. And even I get your explanation too. Like it makes sense, but I just don't feel like it was earned. Like in a way.
Yeah, from a meta standpoint, it's basically calling another character Rose, saying, "Oh, does she have something to do with this character from before?" And it's just like it's a cheap way to gain interest. Yeah.
Let me ask you, Ben. Why do the writers of Doctor Who hate wheels?
Oh yeah, this. Okay, so there was a Children in Need special where the iconic character Davros appeared, but he was before he had his accident. He was basically standing up, which we've never seen before at all. Like Davros has never been out of his wheelchair. And so people were like, well, what's going on? And Russell T Davies did this interview where he was like basically talking about how he was upset about the stigma that people on disabilities have now. Basically saying, we don't want wheelchairs to be evil at all. And so he was like, okay, so we're going to basically try and show Davros less as like a disabled person and more of like just a force of evil. Like we're going to take him out the wheelchair and show him that. So what is the first thing that Russell T Davies does in this episode? He turns a wheelchair into a missile launcher. As someone uses it as a weapon. And it's like, good job, Russell, you broke it.
That was amazing.
It was very cool, and then that kind of thing to be able to see a person like that, our own Shayna, who is she's in a wheelchair and rolls with all of our nonsense that we throw at her. I love her for it. But she was really looking forward to this because, here's a hero character
Yeah.
who, is in a wheelchair and, gets to help the doctor. So it's really cool.
It is very positive in that aspect. I just find it funny how
Yeah.
it's like this guy can't have the weapons on the wheelchair, but this person can,
Right.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
You can't villainize it, but you can make him turn him into Arnold Schwarzenegger and
Yeah.
I think he's like, I'm back. I know this entire world upside down. I'm gonna have fun.
Can someone explain to me what happens here? Like, so Donna's gonna die, right? She's got, all the memories of the doctor, and her daughter, I guess, at now suddenly realizes, at the obviously, Deus Ex Machina moment of the episode where she needs to remember in order to save everything, right? Convenient. And then I'm like, okay, I'm starting to buy this. And then at the end, they can just sort of expel the energy. And I was kind of like, did that feel that was the one moment, I was loving everything. And then that happens. And I'm sort of like, you just sort of I almost wish, and I don't hate me, Whovians, but I almost wish somebody died at that moment. I felt the episode needed, there needed to be more sacrifice, I think, from what was happening there. Because it felt pretty fun. Her, when they were in the bottom of the shuttle, and it felt like something bad was going to, you felt like this was the final moment. Even though I knew there were 2 more specials with Donna Noble, but I still felt it, and I still wanted some repercussion or something, even if she got more time somehow, and at the third one she was going, I don't know, I just felt like they just waved it off, and I was like, oh, okay.
Well, it goes a bit deeper than that, because when the meta crisis happened, there were 2 people who were the part of that meta crisis. If you're going to have it that 2 people together can dissolve that, there was another version of David Tennant that was created from his hand, from Donna Noble touching it. They both could have just decided to disperse that meta crisis themselves at that point.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
Doesn't quite make sense. Again, don't hate me on this. I love that Rose is a trans character and has gone through transition and stuff, but there was no need in her saying non-binary when she was becoming a Time Lord. It had nothing to do with her transness, that she was able to take on that TARDIS energy. It felt a bit Chibnall cringe for me, that one line of dialogue, that
a little bit of wokeness in there to
I have no problem with politically correct stuff, but it's just it didn't feel like it was needed to be in there because it wasn't a trigger word.
For me, there was a worst moment for that when they ask the Meep what their pronouns are, and the Meep just goes, "My pronouns are the Meep," because that's his emperor title. So he's like, I don't have pronouns because I'm evil. It's just what?
That was an alarm bell for me, to be fair. I am just the Meep. You may call me only the Meep.
I am the Meep, your god.
The binary thing didn't bother me too much. I did see it, and it kind of felt like that moment in Avengers when all the women show up and you're like, we're here to guide your back. You're like, oh, okay. And then I just move on, right? Okay, thumbs up.
It didn't bother me too much. It was just a little bit cringe,
a little bit cringe. It's I don't know what it is about some creative, the other thing that I think the end of the episode sort of it just wipes away things sometimes in Doctor Who land, where in earlier seasons I felt seems like there was more repercussions, like when the rocket was basically destroying the city. And I was like, well, and then it just reverses, and I didn't it literally put it back together. And I wish there was just a little bit I'm like, I just hate, I feel like in today's age, I think that was fine in early Doctor Who, but I think now there needs to be a little bit more tangibleness to decisions that are made or things that happen, right?
Well, a lot of unit soldiers died.
Oh, they definitely did.
Yeah, that's pretty standard. No
unit are cannon fodder, aren't they? What are you doing,
pretty
Drew?
much. Unless you're a named character.
yeah. And then you die, but you can come back. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
No, I think I watched a lot of the dialogue. In fact, some of it the first time that I watched the episode, kind of just because I was just like, I'm watching Doctor Who, so I had to rewatch it to catch everything that was being said. But a lot of what we're seeing it because Donna's there, so we're seeing what Donna sees and what Donna feels. And as a mother, I understand why it's there and why we need to understand what she's going through.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Outside of the loss of her memory, she's also dealing with, this teenager who's going through this upheaval in their personal environment and their identity, and older parents that don't understand, and you've given away all your money. And so you add that added thing of parent on there, and it hits a little bit different, I think.
It was interesting how they brought in how she like gave away all her fortune, and yeah, I thought that was interesting, right? Like they did bring a lot of humanity into that episode, and I thought that was really smart.
Yeah.
I thought that was
Great.
really well done, and I did like the action. I thought the action was really good in this episode. There was a lot to like. Like I know
Yeah.
I was I'm shitting on, I'm nitpicking some of the
Yeah.
the plot, like in some of the like wavy things that they did, but
Yeah,
but in general,
the
I
let it go
thought,
stuff is nonsense.
yeah,
But I agree. I want the little kid from across the street to come back. I want to see him again.
Maybe he can mention knowing about the TARDIS too.
Like he shows up at one of the doctor meetings, like, hey.
Is that pretty much where we're at with the sea beast, do you think?
The Sea Beast.
the Star Beast.
Space beast? The Star Beast? That's
Star
the one. Not the sea
Yeah,
beast.
Star Sea Beast was
Outtake.
another one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So let's go on to the Wild Blue Yonder. Drew, you said it's your favorite, so let's start with you.
Yeah, listen, I think Doctor Who, personally, this is a personal thing, but I think Doctor Who is at its best when it's off Earth. Like I love Who stories when they are on planets or in space or dealing with a problem that is like I've heard, like when it goes really heavy into the sci-fi fantasy stuff, right? Like when they're on Earth and it's like save Earth, I'm like I get bored with it. I don't know why, and I think it becomes that like I live there, so
Yeah,
my
it sucks,
imagination,
doesn't it?
yeah, exactly. Like my imagination can only go so far because everything has to be somewhat grounded in realness because of we're living this moment. Because Doctor Who technically kind of takes place in this world, this universe in a sense. But when they're in space, like they can do whatever they want, and I love that where they end up going sometimes, like where the Doctor can defeat the devil, or the Doctor, fights off Clitathu or whatever it might be, right? Like it's just it gets fantastic.
What the hell is Clitathu?
What? Do you mean Cthulhu?
Yeah, Cthulhu. Yeah. Cthulhu.
Oh, he's from Kentucky, guys.
I'm from
It's
Kentucky.
It's allowed.
Yeah.
No, Clitathu's from something else, and my brain farted. What am I thinking?
I'm not going too far down that
Oh man,
that rabbit hole,
Yeah,
Drew.
You could
sounds
clip
scary.
that if you want. But I just thought Wild Blue Yonder was I just like the simplicity of it. I get that it kind of felt like these guys are running down a green screen tunnel. I get it. I don't care. Like I like the fantasticalness of the idea, this idea that there's these entities that can like read your mind and then transform, and the deformity of like the simplicity of like what's terrifying of when they had like the extra long arms or whatever, like that was kind of terrifying, right? Like, and it's
uncanny valley type stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that's when Doctor Who is like at its strongest, when it terrifies you with something so simple like deformity, right? Like in that sense. So I don't know, and I love when the Doctor has to outwit somebody on the long play, right? Like he's behind the whole time, but he's sort of still on it, right? And he's always calculating. And when you can see that happen, like when you're watching it, and when you're watching the villain doing it too, right, the chess game becomes more apparent, and I like that moment too, right? So I don't know, I just thought this felt very like episodic Doctor Who, and that's what I think that's when Doctor Who's at its best.
Uncanny Valley is scary as shit. It would have been worse if there was a kid in it singing a creepy little song, but other than that, done. Ben, what do you think about
I think this episode sucked.
What?
Yeah,
What?
I think that
Ben, explain yourself right now.
I think that cheap green screen, they had to only have 2 actors in the entire thing. Like that was it, except for obviously
Good
Bernard
actors,
Crimmins at the end, and
Yeah.
we appreciate Bernard Crimmins, but it's the exact same premise as the episode Midnight,
No.
with the stealing their memories and their forms. The CGI is kind of wonky at parts, especially with the like stuffed corridor filled with David Tennant and Catherine Tate, like enlarged 500 times.
I can't believe what I'm hearing, guys.
The entire episode is running up and down a couple of corridors. There's mentions of references to Chibnall era, which I didn't understand because I didn't watch half of that series, so I was confused. That's my own fault, but
That's your own fault. I'm not.
And honestly, I feel like it was just a giant game of whose line is it anyway? We're going to stick these two actors in front of a green screen and make them do an episode for 50 minutes and see what they come up with. Didn't think it was. I think that the purpose was that they had a few things they needed to get in before the next episode, and then they had to fit the rest of this episode around it, but they didn't want to pay for any more actors or sets or anything. It was big filler.
I am fucking gobsmacked right now.
I mean,
The last kicker is the Doctor doesn't work out which is the fake. He pulls in the wrong one and then goes, whoops, bye.
but that I feel like that's classic Doctor though. Like he's like, I don't know why. Like I like when he makes mistakes.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't feel like there's a moment I think, and I'm blanking on names now, but like there's a moment where it just felt like he was like godlike, right? Like he couldn't, like it was just like he couldn't be stopped. And I almost like when the Doctor is more human, right? Like he's more fallible, right? Like, and I actually thought that was a fun moment where he actually picks the wrong Donna and then comes back. He's like, oh shit. And then the look on Donna's face when she's like, you picked the wrong, like I don't know. I thought that was great theatrics, right? Like it added another element to a moment where you feel like the episode's ending and you're like, oh no, there's still a little bit of the momentum keeps going. I thought there was some clever story.
I felt like that bit was a bit weird though, because like there's no consequences from picking the wrong one. Like the entire time we're led to believe that if these guys win and get a foothold, they're gonna do something terrible, but it just turns out that he can just reverse it. And the ship blows up very slowly. Like Donna's looking at that explosion for at least 5 minutes.
That's the whole fucking point, Ben. The whole thing was supposed to be slow. That was the whole way that they were winning. Oh, okay. Charlotte, please take over.
Oh, Lord. When I first started watching the episode, we get down that corridor, we get to the robot, and I'm like, Melvin. It's Melvin. I have a bit of a Rickman issue. Sorry.
Hitchhiker's Guide robot. If anyone's lost.
Yes.
Alan Rickman, of course.
I do keep a towel in my car. It's fine. Yeah, I'm prepared at all times. A well-rounded nerd. But and I do usually like when it's a confined space episode, because normally they do really good storytelling in a confined space episode. Like the Titanic episode was really good. The Orient Express episode was really good.
Agreed.
They tend to do really good storytelling in a confined space. So I was a little disappointed that there wasn't a lot of good meat, because you've got characters that we already know, but they've been apart for 20 years. There's conflict here. Let's hear it. Like, we could have gotten some really good meat in this, and we just didn't. The concept was cool. I
thought we got enough of a character development episode in this one that kids can still enjoy. You can't do Breaking Bad Fly episode with Doctor Who.
You have to understand that for us here in the States, now that it's more of a mainstream show, it's not marketed here to children. It's marketed here to adults.
It's on at 6 p.m. here, so it's basically maybe a slightly older kids show, but you can't. I mean, you can't. Going back, you can't do a Fly episode in Breaking Bad anyway because it's shit. But you can't do that in Doctor Who because there's not enough weird and wacky stuff. There was a lot of getting to know Doctor and Donna again. The chaos of the Star Beast. They needed to slow down for an episode because it's not going to slow down again in the next episode. So they needed to slow down and have some discussions. Yeah, some of those discussions weren't technically with each other, but they were with versions of each other that they thought they were having good character moments with, and that just propelled their relationship forward a little bit. I liked this in a more adult-y type of Doctor Who way, but it wasn't a stupid episode. It was just sci-fi fun.
It was just fun. It introduced two new types of villains, right? Like or species or whatever he needs to maybe could interact with in the future, right? Like another, and that to me is always crazy because Doctor Who has like you could like pull like the list of weird character villains that he could battle, like to continually to be coming up with new things, I think is interesting. And I like the character, like I like giving two great actors a sandbox or a black box in this case, or a green screen box, whatever it might have been, like just a chance to just be great actors and just to have that chemistry and to show us that chemistry for an hour and to have fun, as much fun as they were having. I don't know. I kind of was eating it up. I don't know why. I kind of was just like, kind of like, this is great. Like, and it's not the end of the world. The earth isn't going to die. Like, I you know,
Not
like
in
it
this
just
episode.
felt like to your point, Charlotte, like a bottled episode. But I don't know. That's what I guess what I like most about Doctor Who and at the end of the day. So
Two reasons more why I like this episode. Donna Noble is smarter than the Doctor in quite a lot of ways. She is the one who figures out that those doppelgangers are not the right people in every circumstance. She's like, nah, that's not right. That's not my doctor. And she can outwit them. And the other reason is because without Donna, these would have definitely killed everybody, because it preyed on the Doctor's biggest weakness, which is he is so very smart that he can't stop his brain. And he would never have been able to beat it without Dr. Donna. It's a very scary villain for specifically the Doctor. It's someone who can beat him.
that was a good character like decision, right? Like for them to choose like her kind of always kind of outwitting them over the Doctor, even trying to
Yeah.
outwit him. Yeah,
You can't
Her
slow his brain down.
intuition is usually pretty on
Yeah.
point. I mean, they walked into silence in the silence in the library, and instantly she's like, "No,
Mhm.
we don't need to be here."
Yeah, totally. That's what I love about her. Like that's my favorite character. She's just so like, no, we can leave. It's okay. Like she's not like ready to like
Yeah.
save anything, right? She's just like, we should get the fuck out.
Yeah,
It's
well,
great.
and she's not always following him around with her tongue hanging out. I'm like, I
Yeah.
get so tired of. I
Yeah.
don't need that in my doctor. He's like, no.
Right. Yeah.
All right, let's go on to the Giggle and the weirdness of that episode. You know, if Wild Blue Yonder had something which is Uncanny Valley, which is a scary shit for me, the next one had fucking puppets. So there we go.
Oh, I love this episode so much. It was so fun. I'm just such a big fan of absurdity. Like the Toymaker coming back, which is a direct link to William Hartnell's Doctor, of course, which, you know, shows respect to the show's origin. Neil Patrick Harris is just absolutely amazing. He's like an amazing actor. He pulls this role off so well, like splitting between fake accents all over the place, and then whenever he's dead serious, going back to his crazy, mean Count Olaf voice. If you've ever seen the series Unfortunate Events,
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
and just like the entire dance number is just so wacky and zany until it becomes horrific. It's just like the crazy dancing and the gun spewing stuff. It was just, I loved it. Like it was so absurd, and I love absurd stuff. And the bit at the end where Ncuti Gatwa comes out, and he's basically just like this super like emotionally stable doctor who even tries to take out the other doctor at one point, which I laughed at like a lot. Sort of like there can only be one, like Highlander sort of thing.
Hey, we're playing catch nicely, guys.
Yeah,
Come on.
like it's not life or death or anything.
Yeah.
And obviously there's the whole unit and random cameos that don't really have any bearing on anything, but still nice to see people. But and in the end, we get a tease of the Master possibly returning. Also, that beautiful meme that comes up where it's just like, well, that's all right then, that I see everywhere for every fandom now.
The birth of a meme.
Yeah, like Doctor Who finally has a meme again. Like,
Yeah.
that's when you know you've made it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But yeah, there's everything in this episode, even the like maze with all the puppets and stuff, and Donna just being like, "Nope, die, puppets,
The
die."
baby puppets. The
Oh,
baby
man.
puppets, guys. No.
Oh.
No. No.
I'd be okay running into those here, because here in the U.S. I'm armed to the teeth. I can't do that over there. Some target practice. Neil Patrick Harris. Oh my God. Speaking of memes, like that man, he was kind of a catchphrase or a name for kids before memes existed. So he played in the early 90s, he played a character called Doogie Howser, which was a child who was a physician.
Yes.
And
yes.
so it
Doogie
became a
Howser.
thing. If you were like an overachieving child, you were a Doogie Howser. Like,
Absolutely. Yes.
so yeah, he's well versed at being the meme.
Well, yeah, and then
Callback.
it goes into being How I Met Your Mother, a very problematic show now, but not so then, being an absolute
Right. And he's
meme
done Broadway,
in
stage,
every sense of the
stage,
just
screen, all
catchphrases.
sorts. Yeah, he's just all over the place. But while I was watching the behind the scenes stuff, he was saying how he didn't know Spice Up Your Life and how Americans don't know that song. And I'm just like, okay, he's only 5 years older than I am. I know that song, and I grew up in rural Indiana. So just
he
a
was
couple.
Doogie
It came
Howser.
out.
He was a
Yeah.
child actor. He was probably sheltered from such things as
I
bad
hope
music.
that's an excuse, because I'm like, dude, I grew up. I crossed the street from a cornfield, and I knew about the Spice Girls. So sorry about it, man. But he's just so camp and is so good for a character from the 60s. He's so much fun. He brought a really fun energy to it, which they need, getting David out the door,
Yeah.
So, and it's fun every now and then to see an American in the show. He's a gem. Love that. And
Great.
Ncuti, his appearance. Oh my God, can we talk about the insane amount of nerve this kid had to have? Like, he is standing behind David Tennant
Mm-hmm.
in his skivvies, like.
Yep.
Apparently, that was David Tennant's idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
read that too.
Which I can see. That's hilarious. Sounds like something he would do.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, the amount of nerve that he had to have to stand behind this guy that, he looks at as an idol in his underwear. But that's insane.
Yeah. And he
I'm
didn't
impressed
put
with him
pants
already.
on for the whole rest of the show.
He didn't know. I know. I kept
It was
He's
all
running around in
done.
his drawers, just.
No.
It's
Still
like,
pantsless.
confidence. Yeah.
Oh, he's a very confident actor.
Confident man.
I love him. I think he's really good.
Drew, what did he think of the bi-generation angle?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's I'm glad you brought that up. I like, listen, they had to do something. I'm tired of, there's just too many doctors running around the universe at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there should only be one doctor at any given moment in time. The fact that you have Ncuti's doctor, and now you have Tennant's doctor, then you have like another Tennant doctor and another universe still running around, then you have like, isn't like the chick from Game of Thrones is like a doctor running around with
She's
TARDIS.
Immortal, but she does have a TARDIS.
She has a TARDIS with what's her face running around.
Clara.
Like there's like Clara, I'm like, who? I mean, like at some point, all these guys need to get together and just battle for the death. Like,
there's also Joe Martin's Fugitive Doctor from the Whittaker era.
Yeah.
There you go. Right. Like, there's just too many TARDISes running around that I'm like, at some point, somebody's fucking with time too much. And something bad's gonna happen. I don't know. I just wish,
you've got
again,
the vortex manipulators too. So you've got River Song bouncing around all over the place, and
Barrowman.
Barrowman's character.
Harkness.
Yeah,
That's
Jack Harkness. bouncing around too. So
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I get it, but like when you have a TARDIS, it's different than like a bracelet that
Yeah.
allows you to kind of do like the TARDIS is just something I feel like that is special that only the Doctor should. The fact that it's just like sitting in a backyard somewhere with Tennant, and it's just like I don't know, maybe I'll go on an adventure later someday when I'm mentally stable. I'm like, what? Like, what is going on right now? Like, I'm waiting for like episode 4 when Ncuti's gonna be like, call Tennant, I need help. I don't know, you know, like
team up. Let's go for a
yeah,
team
exactly.
up,
I
guys.
just thought it just felt like they put him aside just to use him again and in like a
Well,
year or whatever. I
the-
didn't.
The trailer for the May season does have Rose returning for one episode at least. We know that. Donna's daughter.
Donna's Rose, okay. Because there's two Roses now, you know, in the universe.
Yeah,
I know,
sorry.
yeah, I was like, which one? Yeah, I mean, despite that, the bi-generation, like, I'm like, okay, I don't love it, but to see them both together on screen was pretty incredible. Something we've never seen before. It checks some boxes. I think it's a little bit lazy, but otherwise, I thought, to your guys' point, I thought the episode was a lot of fun. It had so much energy based on Neil Patrick Harris, right? He just like the dude was a scene stealer, even with Tennant, right? Like he kind of just stole all the momentum. And again, a godlike character is always for like anytime the Doctor has to fight someone like omnipotent in a sense, like it's just fun to see him sort of outwit something like that with rules or whatever it might be. The ball tossing was a little stupid, but whatever. Okay, like it got old. Like it was about 10 seconds longer than it needed to be.
They should have all played League of Legends together.
yeah. Like, why the ball thing? Like you know when they're in a writer's room and they're like, what game should they play? They're like,
Fortnite.
they're gonna throw balls. Like, what? I don't know if that's the game, but
you mean it's not 1860 anymore? That's weird.
Be able to, I couldn't understand what made this game so difficult for them. Like, I was just like,
why didn't one of them just chuck it behind them? Like,
right? I know.
Fuck you, man.
I think sort of the idea is it's all supposed to be fair, so he lowers himself to their physical capabilities.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Maybe.
I guess so.
Okay,
but it just seems like a character that would instantly cheat to win, and still kind of play by the rules, right? Like cheat rules. Yeah. It's kind of like when you're playing with a 5-year-old, you know, when he sort of like moves the square 4 inches
like,
this way.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, Doctor, I am using the Monopoly and I have stolen all the money. I win.
I built 14 houses. You dead. It was great. Other than the sort of like multiple Doctors thing, I thought it was a fun episode. And I agree. Ncuti's just like, he's got that smile. The moment that dude smiles, like hearts melt. Like he's just the most charismatic Doctor I think we've had in, I don't know, a long time.
With the toy maker, there's one guy, he wouldn't play the boy who waits.
Oh,
or the man
he who waits. Yeah.
Another one who waits, because I'm sure the Doctor was the guy who waits, or at one point, and I'm sure Rory was a guy who waits.
he waited for like 1,000
there is
years.
another guy who's waiting somewhere, and he won't fight him or play a game with him because he knows he'll lose. That's a bit scary that someone so powerful won't play them. It's a good little breadcrumbs to where we may be going into the season. Like that whole feels like harking back to the Bad Wolf days where you saw Bad Wolf everywhere.
Because he was sort of riddling off to say like, over the years, over the 100 years or whatever, I've killed off. Like he talk like I killed the Master. I killed. Like, he's basically saying like. Yeah, like he's basically saying like I've conquered everything except you, right? Like in a sense,
I've made a jigsaw of your history is the line he says. Yeah.
And so so I was trying to wrap my head around like what does that mean repercussion wise for him moving through? Like, is this? I guess what I'm asking is this Moffat's way of sort of like. Of J.J. Abramsing the timeline, right? In the sense that like I can do whatever I want now because the toy maker sort of reshuffled the deck, right? The deck is now new, right? With Ncuti, right? It's no longer like almost retconning everything that happened even before. Like everything can be new again because of the toy maker.
Well,
or am I overthinking that? I don't know.
Well, basically what he says was he played a game with the Master, which the Master lost. Now, the game that he played with the Master was when he came about, which meant whatever he did to the Doctor's history must have been about when the Master was about, which was season 2 of the Whittaker era. So you can pretty much say that he hasn't affected anything before that,
Okay.
but he could have affected anything during that. But he might not have. You don't know.
Yeah.
I think that vagueness is what they want. They want you to be able to say either the timeless child happened or didn't, because it's such a controversial thing. They made a Schrodinger's box.
I guess so, right? Like it, but I guess that's my point. It's sort of like Moffat can kind of do whatever he wants here, right? Like moving, like in a way, right? He's written a sort of loophole to where like, no. Remember this thing? I can kind of do that now, right? Like I'm not beholden to that because of the toy maker. I could say the toy maker did this. It's kind of like when, remember he said I did the thing with the salt.
Yeah,
I'm
not
not
sure.
episode
I feel
before,
like
he's like, I
Filoniing
did the superstition, and that's what made the toy maker
personally
be able to come back. And I was kind of like, well, that doesn't make any fucking sense, but okay.
Well,
Yeah,
it
because
can't.
the
It's
bi-generation
Moffat
is supposed to
writing.
be, the
Because
bi-generation was supposed to be a myth, and so he opened up the door for that to be able to
Okay.
happen.
I feel
Oh,
like he's
sorry,
Filoniing
no.
it rather than retconning, which is just making things fit with extra content. Good.
Okay.
In the next episode, which we're about to go on to, Ncuti's doctor says that he's adopted, which is all about the timeless child stuff, isn't it? So
Yeah, because he believes that right now. But if that's ever changed, then you've got that line to fall back on from the toy maker. It really just opens doors.
I couldn't really understand the repercussions of what was happening, right? Other than they made it very clear that the Master was sort of in this gold tooth, and there's like a little Easter egg scene where someone picks it up, I guess.
Russell's greatest hits. The painted nail character picking up the ring again.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't catch the painted nail thing. What is that a reference to?
It's a reference to the end of the Sound of Drums story, where basically he dies, but then someone picks up his ring who has like a painted nail, and it turns out to be his wife. And that's where the end of time story starts, because they
love that John Sim master.
So yeah, they pretty much did it again, exactly the same.
It was cool that they did this because it felt big, it felt bombastic, it felt like a 60th anniversary special, right? And the fact that they did it with 4 episodes, and then as a way to introduce the Doctor through a holiday special, I don't know. I just felt it felt very like. It's very rare that a show is this smart in its execution. Does that make sense? Like it took the time to sort of like plan something out to this level. And I think we can all as fans appreciate that sort of thinking behind like, here's what these episodes are going to be. We're going to do this. We're going to bring back Tennant, and that's all going to lead to this Christmas special. And we're going to see shooting. There's going to be this bi-gen. Like it just felt like instead of like maybe we're going to do this thing, and now you new showrunner figure it out, right? Like good luck. Like it all felt very planned and purposeful, which I appreciate.
So let's go on to Ncuti's episode then. The Church on Ruby Road. Or as I like to call it, Doctor Who's Labyrinth episode. Baby gets taken to the Goblin King.
Childhood nightmares.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas!
Just needed a Bowie coming back from the dead, and we've got Labyrinth. That's all we've got.
Is this the least Christmassy Doctor Who Christmas episode? I don't know. It felt like at the end, I was
need
like,
to be at Christmas, did it at all?
It really didn't. It
No.
really didn't.
Well,
It allowed for amplified budget on the imagery, though.
Maybe
It's shot very nicely. It's pretty.
Well, hold on, right? Christmas
Very
is about
pretty.
Jesus, and he slams the evil goblins onto a church.
I mean,
Christmas!
that is true. Yeah.
You're so right. It was like Ghostbusters. Like you step on a church in my town. Oh shit, that's awesome.
It's just
All right.
so much fun, though.
Yeah.
It was
a lot of fun.
Really fun. But it was also such a good, like, acting from Ncuti Gatwa. Like the amount he cries on cue when he realizes that she's gone is like insane. It's like completely admirable. Like I love this Doctor. I really do. He's so good.
Again, love the practical effects, especially the Goblin King. Was there like 6 people in that thing? Like, what the
Had to
fuck?
be.
It's so
cool.
stupid. Why was the singing for one, and for two, why did they start playing the song when Ncuti said, "Please start saying the song"? He's not part of the Goblin tribe. What the hell's going on there?
They love the music. They love to dance. The goblins, their weakness is dance, clearly.
Yes,
and
they're
song.
just there for a jam, man.
And
Yeah.
how
good time.
the heck did Ruby Sunday figure out how to rhyming couplets in that song when she had no idea it was coming? I get why the Doctor is. He thinks on his feet, but like Ruby Sunday.
Improvisation, man.
I know. With a good note, like with a good rhythm.
Yeah.
Right?
And
Like, it
one
sounded
more
good.
thing before my rant's over, right? Ruby Sunday is a stupid name. It feels like a nursery
Fair.
rhyme name or a love interest in a Marvel comic.
You're not wrong.
Well,
Oh, you're not
it's
wrong.
likely because when you have a kid who's abandoned, they sometimes name them after the day they were abandoned on. And if they left a note saying this kid's name's Ruby, they're just like, right, okay, you're Ruby found on a Sunday, so you're Ruby Sunday.
It was Ruby Road, wasn't it? That's why
Ruby
it was
Road.
Ruby.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Ruby Road on a Sunday.
That part is not known here. So I'm
Yeah.
glad you
Yeah.
explained it, because I'm like, I didn't understand why.
Although Ben does save that. Like I was with you,
Yeah.
Ian, for a while. I was like, this is stupid. I don't know if I can buy the Ruby. But your explanation, Ben, actually I think gives it a little bit of
It's a
now
good
I feel bad.
explanation,
Like
but-
I'm not going to shit on it as much because it actually has some thought behind it. It seems,
Yeah.
based on your logic, right?
It's
Fine.
okay. We can
Shut up, Ian.
We can rail on Lulu Bell as much as you like, please. I don't.
Yeah,
that
'cause
name
that's
is
terrible.
weird. That's such a weird name.
Yeah, it was just a lot of fun. I listen, I always want more Christmas in my Doctor Who Christmas specials. There's something about, like, I like the Christmassy vibe, man. This felt like a Doctor Who episode, like with Christmas sort of forcefully fed. But that said, the goblin thing was fun. The ship and the ropes and like him figuring out which rope. It was all in the song, and then
Yeah.
it gets a little hard to swallow. Listen, it's very Doctor Who. The whole idea that like the goblins are attracted to, what is it, or coincidence, like coincidence. I thought that was just it's good, clever writing. It doesn't. I wouldn't be surprised if we never see goblins ever again. It just felt so silly, right? Like it's just a silly villain, right? That they're attracted to Quinn, but I don't care. Like it was still just too fun. Like I was trying to wrap my head around it. I was trying to overthink the episode, right? You know, like about the time travel, and then they're attracted to coincidence, and then it felt like the episode tried to over explain it to you, which made it even harder to understand.
Ooh,
You know what I'm saying? Like it was
coincidence.
trying to like mansplain
Wink.
itself to me, and then I was kind of like, no, by you explaining it is actually making my head hurt more. Trying to explain why, you know what I'm saying? Like I felt like it needed less in the sense of that, but I still didn't mind. Like I still loved, like Ncuti, he was just incredible. I still think what's her name that plays Ruby?
Millie Gibson.
Millie Gibson, yeah. I'm on the fence. Like I think she just needs time to warm up to find her character and or acting or something. There's some companions right away I'm like, oh man, nail, like awesome. She's a little like, I don't know, for me a little dry. Like I don't really care. Like she could go away next episode and I'd be like, yeah, sure.
I didn't know that I needed a Doctor Who that could dance and sing. If it becomes a regular thing, I will quit watching. Please don't do that. And I'm saying that as a person who used to be a musical theater major in college. Please don't. But it was fun.
I want to live forever. That one.
No, I enjoyed it for what it was. It was a good time, which is what I always expect out of a Doctor Who Christmas special.
Yeah.
It was pretty, like a Doctor Who Christmas special. I agree. I'm on the fence about Ruby. I'm not super sold on her. it was a fun episode. I don't know if I got interested enough in her in one episode to care at this point.
Yeah.
I'll give it a few episodes and see. Yeah, I don't know about her, but it was a very, very fun episode. The
All right.
goblins were hilarious.
I
And I
believe
agree
it.
about the labyrinth.
I think
Yeah,
she
but-
was very sweet. Like she has this sort of like feeling to her of being like the Doctor's sort of like adopted child now, you know, because she was started as an orphan, and I think that he's sort of adopted her as well. But she sort of wanted that as well. So I feel like she's fairly nice. I think we'll see more of her as she goes along. Hopefully she doesn't turn evil, because there have been companions who turned evil in the past, but no, it doesn't seem likely. But
Did it turn up for the books then, innit? We're back. What's happened? If you've not seen, there's been a source that says Millie Gibson has all but left, and there's a brand new companion, and that companion seems to be Virada Sethu, who you may or may not know as Cinta from Andor. Millie Gibson has only had one episode as Ruby Sunday, the Doctor's companion, and we already know that she's already leaving at the end of the series. What do you guys think of that?
why should I be invested in this character at all? We already know she's not going to last.
To your point, Ben, they would want to kind of announce it a little closer to the end of the season, because now you're right,
Mhm.
like everyone's going to be like waiting for like shoe to drop, looking the lie.
They should have filmed season 1 already. Like the idea was they were filming season 1 and 2 altogether because they've only got Ncuti Gatwa for so long. There was a big long train of recordings, and she's gone through halfway through them. It's like, why? Like, what could have happened? Did she have a problem with the producers or something? Is she going to be on tours with Christopher Eccleston in a few weeks, going, "I hate Russell T Davies"?
Maybe. There wasn't a big deal made about Bill when Bill only had one season. So I'm interested in seeing if it was intentional, if Russell only wrote a season for this character.
Like the way that first Christmas special was structured for me was that there is some kind of mystery towards Ruby Sunday's origin, and once that story's done, it might just be done. I don't want to make a massive deal about it because it could just be the story.
They could be pulling a Romana. She was a Time Lord. Like if they reveal that Ruby's a Time Lord, I guess she could regenerate.
Another one.
Yeah, there could be another one.
No, it just screams like a bad fit. I just don't think she can keep up with. She's probably struggling to bring the same charisma and chemistry that he's bringing.
What if she's the series villain?
I mean, if we're going to go that way, do we think Missy had a child while she was Missy?
What?
I don't want to even think about the biological implications of such a thing.
Dude, I love that too.
That is a great theory, Charlotte.
That is awesome, because you don't see her face when she's walking away. And she's like planting it for the Doctor she knew.
You saying that Ruby Sunday is the Master's child.
Fuck yes.
Little Missy.
Little Missy.
Let's quickly talk about the incoming companion then, Virada Sethu. She was in one of the best Star Wars things ever known to man, which is Andor.
She was also in one of the worst Jurassic Park things known to man.
You take some,
That's
one hand
Dominion, by
gives,
the way.
one hand takes away.
I've not seen her in anything, so I have no idea.
I like it when they change the companions up. I think that's cool.
It's always good to see new dynamics. Thanks for reacting to this news, guys. Before I actually take up over the universe with my Cyberman friends, we'll cut it right here and we'll go back to the episode.
And just to touch on that note real quick on her, the parent, like the fact that the Doctor could have walked up to, I guess, the mom or dad, I'm assuming it was the mom, dropping her, like, because he sees that happen and then chooses not to, feels like it's not something they're going to revisit, in the sense that it doesn't matter. It's kind of like going back to, like, it doesn't matter whose race parents are in Star Wars. Like, we don't need, but then we end up it need to matter. But like,
it's gonna matter though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I guess.
The
like,
whole point.
part of me is like, I don't know if it should matter, but at this, because they have that scene, to where he sort of chooses not to, like, because if his intuition, like as a doctor, he should have been like, oh, there's something nefarious here, there's something wrong, I'm gonna go right? And then it would have unraveled like a larger plot, like Bad Wolf style.
Yeah.
But, like the fact that he doesn't makes me think like it doesn't matter, right? Like now, like I don't know.
To me, if he'd gone and confronted that person, there's always the possibility they could have turned around and gone and took the baby back, which was counter to what he wanted. Because in that episode, we see she's made a lot of people happy from being an orphan, and she seems happy herself. So why would he take that away from Ruby? That's what I got from that. I think letting her go was probably the best thing for Ruby, since her mother clearly didn't care about her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely see that character again. I think we'll see her mother again. We'll have to.
The reason I might agree with you that she's going to come back is the whole like subplot there of like we couldn't find your DNA, like there's no one exists with that matches your DNA, right? Like there's that big plot hole there that never, and she just sort of like, oh no one, you know, like is that rare? She's like, oh, like they kind of it happens, you know, so
Yeah.
It's clearly there might be something here. They're trying. I feel like it would be rare for them not to kind of tie it into something larger, right? I feel like every companion always somehow, for the most part, has like a larger purpose, right? Like that's why they're chosen or picked or.
Well, I felt like the goblins were sicked on them because they were trying to look for a parentage. Like the moment they start looking for DNA, the goblins start messing around with stuff and start trying to. They don't try and kill her. They try and kill Davina McCall, who's the one doing it.
Yeah, that's true.
Like they drop a Christmas tree on her.
What a way to go!
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Christmas is evil in this episode. Like a snowman falls on someone, Christmas tree. You know.
Yep. Anyone got a theory who Mrs. Flood is?
Oh no.
Old woman at the end who's obviously seen a TARDIS before. Like, what the fuck was that? You never seen TARDIS before? No, I fucking haven't actually. Sorry, mate.
I hate that part so much just because she's from EastEnders, and EastEnders did a crossover with Doctor Who years back, which means she could just be doing a reference to the terrible EastEnders crossover.
It could just be an Easter egg.
It could just be that. But it might not.
Yeah, I've seen other theories online just because her name's Flood, and there's been water-themed people in the past who've been in the same family. So like River Song and Amy Pond. And this is a flood, but I can't see it. That's a bit tenuous.
It was done so like obvious, like fourth wall almost breaking that it was so, to your point, Ben, cringy. Like I was just like, oh, like it was just they made it so obvious that I was like, whatever. They'll tell me one day.
New sonic screwdriver.
So odd.
It's not a screwdriver.
It's not a screwdriver. It's a screw remote.
It's a universal remote, whatever.
It's got little Gallifreyan symbols on it. It's so weird.
Give me a fucking screwdriver. Everyone's gonna have that joke every time that it comes up. This is my sonic screwdriver. Where's the screwdriver? It doesn't have to be an actual screwdriver. No, fuck off.
Yeah.
Make it look like a screwdriver.
I was trying to I even watched some of they did a lot of social push on like him explaining his new screwdriver, and I was watching it and I was like, okay, there's some personal inscriptions and stuff. I like that's but then he's using the episode, I was like, oh, it just looks stupid. I couldn't get over it. I was like, it just doesn't feel right. Maybe I'll warm up to it. Who knows?
It looks like a really cheap version of the phasers from
Star Trek.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it is interesting though. It's like the first screwdriver that something actually it actually is functional in the sense that things slide out and there's some interesting
Swiss Army knife screwdriver.
Yeah, it's like a Swiss Army. Yeah, no, it's a Swiss Army, which now I hate it even more.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Sonic knife. Wee.
It'd be funny if there's an episode where they're serving bread or something. It's I wish we had a knife, and he's like, I have a Sonic, and he actually pulls out a tangible knife and can saw through it.
I actually likened it to Adam Sandler's click remote.
Oh yeah.
It does kind of look like it.
To be fair, it probably could change channels, right? The Sonic could probably.
The Sonic could though. Exactly. A screwdriver could. The Sonic screwdriver could change channel. Probably a normal screwdriver could.
This thing just finds porn. You're like, why does this thing only find porn on my channel? I I don't know. This thing's broken.
Weird alien porn at that.
Yeah, exactly. Like tentacle
Yeah.
porn.
Oh,
It's all
God.
about the hentai.
Clitothu. I'll bring it back. Boom.
Clitothy. With that, then, shall we go through a quick summary and some overall thoughts? Ben, what was your overall thoughts and a quick score out of 10? And split it into two. Let's do it. Split into two. David Tennant and Ncuti episode.
David Tennant, I think I'll have to give it an 8.5, mostly because, they didn't put as much resources into it as they could have as a 60th anniversary special. Putting a filler episode in and calling that a special kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit, but that's my own personal opinion. So, what?
You shut your damn mouth.
Yeah, so I'm going to say 8.5, but the Giggle was definitely my favorite of the bunch.
And how about the Ncuti episode?
Oh, I would give that one a 9, probably.
Okay.
Just because I really like it. I think that there was like a point taken off purely for the old woman.
Okay.
Like that just annoyed me. I was like, oh, they're doing this again. We're going to be spending 6 months waiting for this just to see if there's an answer.
All right. So, Charlotte, how about you?
For the David Tennant episodes, I have to say probably 9 out of 10. But I just love David and Catherine together. I think they're amazing. I love anything they do. And for Ncuti, I'm gonna say probably 9.5, just because I'm not really feeling the Ruby character quite yet. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it.
Head of unit, Drew.
Yeah, I'm gonna give the Tennant episodes. I think I'll give them a solid 8. They're high. What I love about Doctor Who is, out of when you go back to their library, and if I choose to rewatch them, right, like it's sort of like it's like 11 o'clock at night, I'm like, I'm gonna fall asleep to something, or fall asleep to Doctor Who episode, and I go back and I'm like, I think I would put one of these up, several of these episodes, rewatch them a lot, right? I think they're fun and they feel lively, like in the Doctors, and they're clever, and they're in some points even scary, which they kind of check all those great boxes, which is great. So I'm gonna give it a solid 8. Like I would go back and watch these all over again. I deduct a few points just because of logic, right, and and not really quite nailing some of the dynamic and the extra Doctors still floating out there, like them unable to finalize Tennant's tenure feels weird to me in the 60th. And then for Ncuti's, I'm gonna give that a 9. I think that was, like, as far as like Doctor introduction episodes, that's top tier, right? Like that's up there with Matt Smith's, I think. And even Capaldi. I thought Capaldi's first episode was pretty strong. I think it's top tier. I think they did a really solid job of like showing us what the future of this doctor's tenure is going to be, and like what he can bring to the table. So I thought they did really. And I agree. The point off, I think, is for Ruby. I'm not sure her character. She quite knows how to play her character yet. I think it's going to come. Their dynamic isn't quite there yet. Their chemistry. I think eventually Ncuti's charismaticness or charisma will sort of like, she'll find it because of him. Like he'll bring it out of her, right? I think that's just, as an actor, they'll figure that out.
I think I'd give the Tennant episodes 8.5-ish. I think they were solid. They made me fall in love with Doctor Who again. It was just fun. My dad asked me if I should watch it, and I said, it's fun. Why not? My sister asked if I should watch it. I said, absolutely not. You hate space.
But to be fair, 2 of the episodes he doesn't go to space. So I mean,
it's very true.
You know,
Ncuti, I'm going to give a bit less than you guys. It was Labyrinth in space, and I'm not sold on Ruby Sunday at all. So I will go for an 8.5 on that one as well. It's still good. It's still a good introduction. Really enjoyed it. Excited for the future. I think the teaser really got me excited to see what's coming next. I'm definitely going to be watching it in May when it comes out.
do we know how many episodes we're getting? Did we get any clue on that, on the new seasons?
8 episodes.
8.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
that's
not
not
too
bad.
bad.
That's not bad.
That's
Solid.
I don't know. Yeah, that's
I don't know. I long for the days of like a 20 episode Doctor Who season where they just
Right.
crank them out
Every
They're
single
low,
week, you know.
They're low budget, and
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. I long for those days, but
I'd love for Fathom events to start putting them in theaters again. So I've
Oh,
been
yeah.
to see what was it? The wives or the husbands of River Song. Saw that in the theater.
Hmm.
I saw the Christmas before that. I saw that in the theater. And then the year before that, they released the 5 Doctors
yeah.
oh, that's
in
a good
theaters.
I
All
want them
right,
to bring
then.
back what was it? Not the War Doctor. that
Paul
came back.
McGann.
Paul McGann. I thought he was
Oh.
awesome.
Yeah, we need more stuff with Paul McGann. Like he
Yeah,
didn't get a chance to shine.
He didn't get a chance to shine, and he was. I thought he
didn't,
was great.
but also, I don't.
I kind of want to see him do a cameo.
No, thanks very much, guys, for lending your nerd knowledge for Doctor Who today. And thanks everybody for listening and watching our very special Watching Now podcast on Couch Soup, all about Doctor Who. If you liked this, then do all the good things that everyone tells you in videos to do. Like, subscribe, review on Apple and Spotify, you know, all that jazz. And if you really, really love us, why don't you just become a member on Couch Soup? You can do it on the free tier if you want, but if you want to support independent creators like myself and Ben and Charlotte and sort of Drew, then you can become a member and paid tier. Support independent creators. Thanks very much, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.